Sanjay Dutt was a bigger star than Amir at that time. And of course, Anu Malik was the biggest music director at that time.
The first song was Tanha, which completely put us into the zone which Rangeela had.
Rahman completely destroyed the aspect of one conventional singer like SP Balu or Chitra singing. But I don't think Raja sir's melodies are presented in the same way, the same quality of aesthetics. I don't think a Pandit Ravi Shankar can ever even dream of doing something like Jai Ho. Rahman, I got in barter.
Tracking milestones of an incredible journey spanning more than 3 decades. Rahman Music Sheets. Hi friends, discover the top take as we uncover the wow factor in this episode. Do watch it till the end to grab this musical moment of the day. Roja, a film by Mani Ratnam, became an unexpected sleeper hit. Since then, the maverick maestro AR Rahman has influenced Indian cinema and overall pop culture. By defying all boundaries, he evolved into India's foremost global musical mascot. This episode focuses on his first original score for Hindi film Rangeela.
अबे तो पैर देख रहा है, बच्चा देख रहा है, चला के देख। अरे अपुन भी टिकट खरीद लेला है। टिकट लिया तो क्या थोड़े तेरे बाप का हो गया क्या? लड़की साथ में तो हीरो बनता है।
Mr. Varma, where did you hear about Rahman for the first time?
Mani Ratnam, I went to meet him actually. He was recording a song for Roja, so I didn't know who he was at that time, Rahman. And he made me hear a song in the studio. And the first thing which struck me was the tones and the clarity and the crystal clear aspect of each and every instrument. You can hear it so clearly. Normally critical what happens is all jumbled, especially in those days, And so I asked Mani, who's this guy? His name is Dilip. At the time, maybe he already changed his name, but Mani used to call him Dilip at that time. That's the first time, more or less, I met him.
And your first visit to his studio, just elaborate on that.
See, he said to me, I still remember where we were standing outside the studio because it made such an impact on me. It's another matter I didn't follow it till today, He said, Ram, I decided whatever comes out of here should be good. And he said it so simply. He didn't try to make a statement. He didn't say that, let's see what I'm going to do. It's not that. I just decided. It's such a simply, plainly said line. And it struck me. So that is something probably most people might wish to do that, but I don't think they'll practice. I didn't practice it. In spite of it, the line making such an impact on me, I didn't practice it till today. But he practices it. And which is the reason you see in every song his passion being reflected.
Roja, a true reflection of Rahman's passion. The original Tamil album sold 2 lakh copies. The Hindi album sold 28 lakh copies. Yet, his road to acceptance in the Hindi film industry was far away.
Roja, it was a success and everything, but I think since it was a dubbed film at that time, the mainstream industry never takes a dubbed film very seriously. They think it's just one-off which came out of the blue, And also Rahman's music was so different compared to the kind of music which used to come at that time, like Anu Malik and whoever was there, Nadeem Shravan, in that kind of a period. So I think people were confused actually.
What was so unique about Rahman that you wanted to work with him? Was it his melodies?
I don't think it's so much about the melody. The same melody done by another music director, which I will think will sound very ordinary. It's only just the intensity with which it comes in. For example, if you look at the Bombay theme, I think the same notes, if were done by another music director, the notes are same, the composition is same. I think it is the way it is rendered. It makes a player render it, a singer, and what he feels about it more than anything else in his heart. I think that's what which comes through perfectly without any loss in translation. Films have songs, great songs. Even a lot of music directors give super hit songs, But I wanted a kind of music which will challenge me as a director to reinterpret song picturizations. And that can be possible only because of the uniqueness of the sound Rahman gives. The phenomenon of Rahman is not because he's a great music director, because I think he's far beyond just being a music director. And that's what I felt when I heard the music of Roja, and which is reason why I was so badly wanting him to do Rangeela.
Roja was not an accident. For Tamil cinema in quick succession, Rahman started creating melodies that were a class apart. And now he was about to redefine Hindi film music with Rangeela. This was going to be Rahman's first ever original film score for a Hindi film. But producers of Rangeela hadn't even heard of Rahman.
When you started working on Rangeela, you really had to negotiate with your producers also.
Yeah.
To go for Rahman and not for other names.
Yeah. See, at the time, I was actually making two films in Hindi. One is called Nayak with Sanjay Dutt, and where Sanjay Dutt got arrested halfway through, which is the reason it got shelved. Now, Anu Malik was doing the music. So my producers were more interested in that project because Sanjay Dutt was a bigger star than Amir at that time. And of course, Anu Malik was the biggest music director at the time. So they were, Jammu Sugan said, who's Rahman? He's done Roja and all that, They somewhere felt, okay, Nayak is a big picture. Ramu is making this for just like that, whatever. So if we say no to this, he might not do that. So it is on some kind of a mind frame like that. Rahman I got in barter, because if I can take Anu Malik for Sanjay Dutt's film, then we are okay with Rahman for Rangeela. And little did anybody know that Rangeela will become the biggest, yeah.
A decade later, Nayak was finally made as Sarkar. Rangeela, a major box office hit, won 7 Filmfare Awards, including Special Jury Award for Asha Bhosle and trophy for the best music to AR Rahman.
I met Ram Gopal Varma, who's a very celebrated director, and who was taking a completely U-turn. He was doing, Gunda films and underground movies, and suddenly he wants to do this romantic movie, and so he was very excited. He would get excited by every little sound, and somewhere we were all discovering things. I met Mehboob, again a very inspiring writer, so we all three of us would jam together. And then when I started doing the first song, I felt it was going in the wrong line. It was going somewhere which it shouldn't. And then we recorded a song and we bounced it, all of us together, and then started again in a completely new route.
The contribution of Rahman to me was of a far more greater magnitude, because for me it opened up my mind to music in a way I've never really thought about it. Because when I was making Rangeela, the kind of a new sounds and the purity in melody, it somewhere forces a director, a filmmaker to expand his horizons in how he can picturize it,
The first song was Tanha, which completely put us into the zone which Rangeela had, moving towards the next sound of what film songs could be, because using more electronic rhythms and other things, and yet having rooted Indian kind of melodies against that. And though Roja was a hit and a lot of people knew me in North India, this was a whole new feeling. It went to the next level.
Besides Asha Bhosle, Rangeela had established singers like Udit Narayan, Kavita Krishnamurthy, Chitra and Suresh Wadekar. It also had Shweta Shetty, a pop singer who had earlier sung for Roja, along with Baba Sehgal, a rapper. In Roja, Rahman also introduced ghazal singer Hariharan into Tamil film music. Even later, Rahman opted for many new and unusual voices. One wonders what drives Rahman's choice of singers.
I think the pressure of sitting in a big studio with big producers and the entourage of 70 orchestra people and trying to convince in front of them was not necessary for me because I had my own home studio. And because of that, I could be more true to my music. I could say, okay, my music demands this kind of singer. I don't care whether it's a name or no name. If she delivers or if he delivers, that's fine. And it didn't come consciously, it came unconsciously for me. Like, it was not like, oh, here I'm going to introduce another singer. It was never like that. I said, this feels very good. And I would play it by people and say, oh, this sounds very new, what is it? They don't care who sang. That's it's not a natural reaction that comes later. The strings attached always come to that. So when I was doing, and of course, with all due respect to singers like who were incredible, who could sing 10 songs a day, like SPBG and Janaki ji and Sushila ji and all. I would always want to give the best songs to them when it comes to writing songs for them. So I would wait for those songs and then call them. So they feel I don't know. It's my kind of tribute to them.
I wanted a very erotic number, and in my mind, at the back of my mind, I had something like "Kaate Nahi Katti" in Mr. India, probably as a reference, And when I described how I wanted to shoot it and everything, he came up with this tune which he sent me on a bare track, I thought he's gone mad. I said, what did I think by mistake I thought he sent me something else, some classical Carnatic raga or whatever. I said, Rahman, I told you about the erotic, you sent me something. No, this is made for the same situation. I said, that situation, how can this tune? I just couldn't understand.
If you look at the roots of our culture, if you look at many things in the past, even Hindu mythology or going back to the ancient sound, it's always about ragas. And there's a rag for each emotion, and that's a base of foundation of a music. And somewhere when that is lost and you do a song just for the sake of it with cheesy lyrics, it becomes too crass and it becomes unhealthy for me. And so I was trying to find a way to make this interesting and rooted to our culture.
Then, because it was with me, the CD, I kept playing it just once in a while, and suddenly at one point it just got stuck in my head, and I said, Rahman, maybe it'll work.
Somewhere I was very confident that it's going to work, and when he listened to the tune, he really liked it. And when we produced it, I could just see him discover every little scene or every little shot he was constantly walking over the studio like a restless person.
Then he did the orchestration and it blew me away. I could never imagine a tune like that can be presented in the kind of a format of the final orchestration. This is one instance, and the second is the spirit of Rangeela. That thing which he completely did the whole thing and sent it to me. And I and my cousin heard it for the first time when it came to Bombay, and my first reaction of my cousin was, it's horrible. Now I was confused. I didn't know whether it's good or bad, because I obviously had something else in mind. I didn't expect this. But my cousin saying it horrible, I was down. Then I was going for shooting and I played it in the car, and I asked my driver, what do you think of this? My driver said it's same thing, horrible. It's very bad, sir. What is this music, Then I was shooting there. I played it on location, and by lunchtime everybody was singing that tune. Now that whole phenomena, which logically I can't understand, the so-called slow poison of Rahman, which everybody keeps saying that, But if you look at it logically, I don't think in today's time anybody would listen so many times to like something, But I think more than anything else, most people's first reaction to Rahman's music is because it is so unexpected. You half in your mind, you will expect it to sound like another hit song you heard, in the genre. The moment it doesn't sound like that, I think you get disoriented, and it will take you some time to get back into and listen to it in a fresh perspective. That's where I think the nearest explanation I can give for why people take some time to, relish his music. What Rahman's music does is, you have no choice but to think differently, right from the choreographer to the director to all concerned. Even the rendering of the actor becomes different, because he has to follow the track somewhere. I remember Amir telling me, the first time I am hearing sometimes song not coming on beat, I didn't know what that was precisely at that time. But the point is, I am reacting to the sound. Amir is more closely into the technicalities of music also, And to use a Rahman kind of voice on Amir Khan at that time for a Mangta Hai Kya song was very, very path-breaking, because Amir was feeling that people might laugh, because they're so used to hear Udit Narayan. Now, Rahman completely destroyed the aspect of one conventional singer like S.P. Balu or Chitra singing. You will just get anyone, because anyone makes a song sound different. So the unconventional approach somewhere forces, not only in the music per se, even the way the directors think about song picturation, choreography, sets, how to challenge each other to make it. So I think that's what I meant by it expands your horizons.
Have you ever been privy to that scenario when he's actually composing, or you just listen to the track that are sent to you?
There were times when me and Rahman traveled to Goa for composing. Spent around 5 days at Taj Village Hotel there. And so in the process, but of course Rahman works alone. When a director or anybody creates a piece, he looks for appreciation. He looks for, an enthusiastic reaction. He just doesn't do that. And the first time when my flat, he composed the Yaire song of Rangeela. He was doing it with his headphones, and he called me, Ram, I made something, just listen to it. And I also listened to it on the headphones. And when I told him it's fantastic, he said, are you sure? He said, because it's all the time, it's not about being doubtful. He just wants to be sure, you are sure the tune is working. At the time of creation is so much into it, but the excitement doesn't show in what he's looking. He's not dying for a compliment. He's not dying for an enthusiastic response from you, which I think is, I wouldn't say it is good or bad. I think it's very unique, because all artists are dying for that kind of an obvious response of people raving about their work, So I think that quality is something again which I've seen only in Rahman. Rahman is the only guy I met in my life who doesn't have creative arrogance. He would never ever defend something he made. He would never ever say this is good, you should take it. He doesn't do that. I mean, if you for some reason think it's not good, he would want to make another tune, but he will never defend or explain it, even which is even more fascinating. The uniqueness about Rahman in the way he gets work out of both singers and musicians, I would say, he would never command them. He would, I mean, all the typical music directors I've seen worked with them, they'll always order a musician. Just C note this, what are you doing, this and that. I've seen him interacting with them in a way as if the song belongs to them. Do you think this is right? Do you think you can I think you should play something like this. So him sounding unclear about what he wants, deliberately I would think, forces the musician to feel for himself and think, rather than following an order. Following an order becomes mechanical. But what Rahman does is, he has something in his mind, not to crystal clearly tell and to provoke that thought, provoke that feeling into the musician or the singer, the way they should render it, and to treat them as stars. They are making a song. He makes them feel that the song belongs to all of us, actually more to you than me. You might not say it in so many words, but that's a feeling. Because of that reason, no musician or no singer sound in any other music director the way they sound with Rahman. The first time when I saw him doing this, just recording the singer's voice on a bare track without anything, which is the opposite way of any music director doing, they record the complete track. I realized, I mean, when I asked him, it told me, see, the singer's voice is the most important aspect of the thing. Now, directly depending upon how the singer rendered is the voice and the feeling, the orchestration will follow that as a support system, rather than the singer has to fall in place with the thing. It's the exact opposite. But that is coming from his respect towards the singer's voice, because the lyric and the emotion in the singer's voice is of paramount importance. And and second is when various versions keep coming. That is what I meant when I said this. It's like it's work in progress. A song is never over till it is delivered in the last second. That's because he constantly keeps on improvising and seeing what else he can do with the track.
The general belief about Rahman's music is that the singers, the voice, even to some extent the lyrics, are just one of the embellishments. It's the total package that works. How do you...
I won't say that. You see, the point is, eventually a song works because of the way it makes you feel. Fair enough. Most people, I don't think, listen to lyrics. But I think what the lyric does is, the meaning of the lyric, which gives the singer a certain aspect to render it, which translates into an emotion. Then how that is packaged and what comes underneath that or above that or in between that is what which gives it a body, fleshing out, for a want of a better word. So I think the whole thing becomes seamless after some time, and where you don't know where something ended and where something began. See, Rahman, I really think is like a sculptor. I mean, a sculptor, to give a funny example, someone told me once, it's very easy to be a sculptor. If you want to sculpt a dog, a rock into a shape of a dog, you should just take that piece of rock and sculpt away whatever doesn't look like a dog. It's a very funny example. But in the context of Rahman, in the reverse, to make something as a first thought, and then after everyone liking it, then he revisits after maybe a week or 10 days later, and he listens to the fresh mind. It's almost as if he hasn't done it, someone else has done it, and then some other new idea comes, because the creation eventually is a constant process of evolution. And so most people, including me, I'm not only talking about music directors here, we, after the first thought, we execute it, and we already think that we created a masterpiece till the audience tell us otherwise at a much later stage. We just kind of tend to forget it. But till the time it reaches the final mix stage and it is delivered, he will still be looking at it as in a process of evolution. It is still being made. is never been made completely. That kind of a dedication, that kind of a passion towards a finished product, towards a product is something very, very uncommon, I think.
Rangeela, the debut Hindi film of AR Rahman, dubbed in Tamil and Telugu, described as Rahman's most radical soundtrack for Hindi cinema. It found the right balance between innovation and eccentricity that became Rahman's forte in coming years.
The aesthetics of Rahman, see, for example, in terms of, I would take an example of, let's say, on Kya Kare Na Kare song in Rangeela. In the music, that why this one string comes. Now, that is something which is so characteristic of Munna's character in the film, Now, it's not that I had major discussions with Rahman about the story of the character and all that. So, it's so instinctively he puts in one sound, which would become almost like a signature. That is not a melody, that's not a hook line per se. Okay. So these kind of effects, he will put something which become a memorable, almost like item scenes in a for want of a better word, in a film. And then the groove, the kind of grooves he uses are so unique, and they have an emotion by themselves, which I very rarely see happening with any other music director, because the groove is very cold in a certain sense of the word, because it doesn't have a melody, doesn't have a memorability, but something about Rahman's grooves, it just hits you like and I never heard strings being played like the way he gets them played. So I think, and to treat each and every instrument, no matter how little it is in the song, whether it is playing along with something else, you distinctly understand its role in the song. There's nothing which is not needed. There's nothing which comes in like a filler. And one more unique thing, once he told me, he always concentrates on the third BGM, which comes after the first Antara. Because he said by the time the song will have a tendency to repeat itself. You heard the introduction, you heard the mukra, you heard the antara, and then most songs will become. So by the moment you make the third BGM very arresting, the interest in the song grows again. But most music directors, they use BGMs like fillers. They just want to, Arey kuch kar do, after that it goes off. So I think the tremendous passion and giving respect to the smallest of details, and this doesn't stop even with the orchestration, even in the correcting the pitches and the tones and the final mixing, the levels of which instrument should play at what level, and that all that he does it by himself. Because of that, he only hears them being so pure, because he is so pure as a person.
Do you think his dedication and passion has a direct relation with his spirituality?
Rahman's spirituality, I don't know if I can comment on it, because I myself am an atheist. I don't believe in God. But the fact that he's so concentrated on just two aspects, one is his spirituality and one is, of course, his music, I think that automatically says it cuts down on all the other avocations a normal person might have. I'm sure that works a lot, But the passion in the music, I'm saying it, in terms of the various variety of music he does or whatever, which is not like he does spiritual music. And there is an inherent brat also in him. There is a certain mischievous quality in Rahman, which you hear it in some of Shankar's songs, and used to do that a lot earlier, not so much now. And I think a combination of that directly is not linked to spirituality in that sense, Because for me, if it's only spiritual, I would expect him to be one of these classical musicians, which is not the case. He can get into pop, he can get into anything for that matter.
Many esteemed ambassadors of Indian music with a rich repertoire of classical creations are acclaimed internationally. But by touching popular chords, AR Rahman created new milestones.
Rahman clicked with the popular thought process internationally and he became a part of popular culture. What would you attribute it to?
Rahman just cutting across layers, because that aspect of him, you wouldn't think he's the same guy can do, let's say, the music of Ma Tujhe Salam, for instance, and then to Jai Ho. I don't think a Pandit Ravi Shankar can ever even dream of doing something like Jai Ho. You know what I'm saying? So I think just cutting across layers and getting into any territory or any emotion or if with any kind of a taste, that is like a maverick or something, which is the reason I think his reach has been far superior compared to any other musician from India.
Did you notice any change in him as he gathered worldwide fame?
Till today, I haven't seen any change in him. He's exactly the same person. People think that his dignity, some complaints about him being slow and all that was always there. It's not because of success. It's not because of anything. That's how he is as a person. So I absolutely have never seen him complain on someone or getting upset with something or whatever. And he's so tolerant towards people.
You work with Ilaiyaraaja too, and Rahman also used to work for him. What difference do you find between both of them?
See, I would say, I would come back to the same thing. Ilaiyaraaja probably is very fast, and in terms of there's an attitude in his music which is very different for those times. It used to break lots of this thing. But in sheer presentation, in aesthetics, for want of a better word, I think Rahman's aesthetics are beyond compare to any music director. It's like this, there is a content which could be the melody, but like if we say the fantastic photography, art direction, costume, makeup, this is what aesthetics which would decorate the content in a script, And because of the aesthetics, probably even a normal composition will sound so fantastic. I think that would be the primary difference, I would say. But I don't think Raja sir's melodies are presented in the same with the same quality of aesthetics. That's what I would like to say as a layman, not really being trained and understanding music per se.
Do you think that this quality of Rahman, the way he embellishes his entire track, that found him his ground there?
See, I would like to believe every decade or so, someone will come and change the rules. And I think one had experienced Ilaiyaraaja for nearly some 10 to 15 years before Rahman came onto the field. And I think, like I said, the sheer difference in sound. In fact, I remember Rahman telling me this once. He said, melodies anyone can make, fine, good melodies, great melodies and all that. But I wanted to create a new sound. The packaging for the melody is where the whole thing takes a new turn,
The second film you did with Rahman was Daud. How different was Daud music, say, from Rangeela?
See, for me, on a sheer experiment, music eventually comes from a situation, where Rangeela had a strong story. The characters, there's a love story, there's a relatable drama, and music coming from within that is what worked. But I feel only in experimentation, for me, Daud music is far superior. But because the picture didn't work, they don't come from real situations and real characters. They're all fantasy, they're all very designed for effect, And because of that, I think on a success level, it might be lesser. But for me personally, I like the songs of Daud much more than Rangeela.
And you haven't worked with him since Daud?
No.
Any specific reason?
No, there's no specific reason. The point is, one is I stopped making musicals. One reason. Second reason, in terms of Rahman's time, his busy schedules and me staying in Bombay and, that whole aspect. So, but I would like to go back to him the day I feel that I need him. No one can accept, because I need to respect the music, what I'm intending to make. Only then I think one deserves to go to Rahman.
But you did work together on a third film, that is Dil Se. You and Shekhar Kapoor were co-producers of the film, and Chaiya Chaiya proved to be a turning point for AR.
I mean, I think Rahman's turning point, I think between Bombay and Rangeela, it's already he's done it. I don't, Dil Se came much later. By the time already he was a very huge name to reckon with, And second point is, me and Shekhar Kapoor, both of us, our names were there, but creative process, we were somewhere not involved. That was between Mani and Rahman, the whole thing, yeah.
We hear that Rangeela 2 is in the making.
That's not true. That's just a rumor.
Oh, it's just a rumor. Okay, thank you, Mr. Varma.
Rahman's debut Hindi film, Rangeela, wasn't merely a turning point but became a milestone in his career. No wonder he expresses his gratitude to Ram Gopal Varma by saying, "You have been an integral part of my journey and I won't have been the same without you."
The uniqueness about Rahman in the way he gets work out of both singers and musicians, I would say, he would never command them. He would, all the typical music directors I've seen worked with them, they'll always order a musician. Just C note this, what are you doing, this and that. I've seen him interacting with them in a way as if the song belongs to them. Do you think this is right? Do you think you can, I think you should play something like this. So him sounding unclear about what he wants, deliberately I would think, forces the musician to feel for himself and think, rather than following an order.
Do you agree that this indeed was the moment of the day? Is your choice different? Whatever your mind says, write it in the comments section below. We will be waiting. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon and stay entertained.